All right, so today we're going to do lesson 52, which is orders of operation. I'm going to go ahead and give you a minute to write this down. So this is actually the orders of operation, meaning the order in which we're going to solve equations. And a way to remember it is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which means we do anything in parentheses first, then we look at the exponents, we multiply, divide, add, subtract, and we're done. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. So it's something you might want to put a little poster, or just make sure it's somewhere written and handy so you remember it. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we're going to go ahead and do a couple of equations and using the order of operations to solve them. So our first equation is 2 plus 4 times 3 minus 4 divided by 2. And I wrote it over here to the side. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. So we start at the beginning with P. And if we look, there's nothing in parentheses, so we don't have to worry about that. We can go ahead and skip down to the exponents. And again, we have no exponents. So then we need to multiply. We need to look and see what all is multiplied. And looking at it, 3, 4, and 3 are multiplied right here. So we go ahead, 4 times 3 is 12. So our new equation is going to be 2 plus 12 minus 4 divided by 2. All right, so that's all of the multiplication. So we can go ahead and divide. We have 4 and 2 are being divided, and that's 2. So our next equation is going to be 2 plus 12 minus 2. And that's all the division. So then we need to add. 2 and 12 is what we're adding. That's 14 minus 2. Last is subtract. So 2 subtract. 14 minus 2 is 12. So our final answer is 12. All right, we're going to do another one. And that one is going to be 3 squared plus 3 times 5 over 2. So we have 3 squared plus 3 times 5 over 2. Starting at the beginning, parentheses, there are none. Exponents, we do have 1. 3 squared, remember, is 3 times 3, so that's 9. So our new equation is going to be 9 plus 3 times 5 over 2. And then we need to go down to the next one, multiply. We're multiplying 3 and 5. It's 15. So it's going to become 9 plus 15 over 2. And then at this point, you can either divide or add and then divide. So on this one, you can kind of flip-flop it because it's both of these are over 2. You would divide the 9 by the 2 and the 15 by the 2. So if we did that, 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. And then 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So it will become 4.5 plus 7.5, and that equals 12. Or if you wanted to add first and then divide, we would add 9 and 15, which is 24. That's still over 2. 24 divided by 2 is still 12. So either way, you get the same answer for that one. But again, it's up to you whether you want to divide first and then add, or add and then divide. But again, remember, if you divide, you have to divide everything on the top by the number that's on the bottom. Right, and we'll do 2 more. All right, so this one is going to be A plus AB. That's it. A plus AB. And so they're telling us that A equals 3 and B equals 4. So then all we have to do is plug those numbers into the appropriate letter. So 3, A equals 3. So anytime we see an A, it's going to be 3. So 3 plus 3, and then 4 is B. So that's actually 3 times 4. All right, so we start at the beginning. Parentheses, we have 3 times 4 in parentheses. It's 12. So it's going to be 3 plus 12. There are no exponents. We don't have anything else to multiply. Nothing needs to be divided, so we just add 3 plus 12, and we get 15. Nothing needs to be subtracted, so our final answer is 15. All right, and then one more. So we have 4 is going to be xy minus x over 2. And x equals 9, and y equals 2/3. Lovely fractions. So then we are going to have 9 times 2/3 minus 9 over 2 as our equation. All right, and remember, this 9 is understood to be 9 over 1, so we'll have 9 over 1 times 2/3, because that's what's in parentheses. But we're going to get 18/6. Or sorry, 18/3. My bad. I don't know. And then that's an improper fraction, so we need to turn it into either a mixed number or a whole number, and that becomes the whole number 6. So now we have 6 minus 9 over 2. And 9 over 2 is an improper fraction, so we need to turn that into a mixed number. And 9 over 2 is equal to 4 1/2. So I'll write that over here is 4 1/2. So then our new equation, that was 6 9/2, is going to be 6 minus 4 1/2. And then remember our steps from previous chapters. We're going to have to turn this into a fraction to turn it into the correct shape. So we're going to take 1 from that, which will be 5. And then our fraction to make it common denominators is 2. So it'll be 2 over 2 minus 4 1/2. And then we subtract it straight out. 5 minus 1 is, 5 minus 4 is 1. And then 2 minus 1 is 1. We bring down the half. So the final answer is 1 1/2. So again, we just followed these steps for order of operation. We did what was in the parentheses first. There were no exponents on this one. And we had already multiplied because the parentheses was what was multiplied. Nothing needed to be divided. And then there was no adding, so we went straight to subtracting. And again, if anything is an improper fraction, it needs to be turned into a mixed number. And then if we have mixed numbers and whole numbers, we need to make sure our whole number has a fraction so that we can do this correctly to either add or subtract our mixed numbers. And that is orders of operation.